Welcome to the Basic Bee podcast, a show for the wannabe SEO savvy service providers among us, for the coaches and consultants who dream of becoming known for their storytelling skills, not to mention the solopreneurs who straight up need to master all things social proof to increase sales. After a little reluctantly fully committing to this online world of business, I quickly realized I needed to get people to come to me. I needed to tell them I was here and how I could support them. I dove headfirst into social proof, which led me to SEO, which led me to storytelling. And now it gives me great joy to share what I've learned with other business owners so they skip the hard stuff and ease straight into sales. This podcast gives you expert insights, actionable takeaways, and casual convos with some of the online world's best and brightest experts and strategists. I think that's enough of an intro, so here we go. Welcome back to the Basic Bee podcast. I am stoked that you're here, and of course, you're in for another amazing conversation. Today, I'm joined by my friend, Sarah Gillis. I didn't even check if that's how I should say your name, but we're just going to roll with it. Yes, I did it. So we've already been having a blast, and I was like, we should probably hit record. So we're going to be having kind of like a back and forth copy chat. We're going to be talking about how to optimize web pages and then whatever else comes up, because I can already see we're probably going to have side streets, and I'm very here for that. But before we get into this, let me give you a quick intro and, welcome Sarah to the show. As a copywriter at What Sarah Said, copy coach, and host of the Copywriter On Call podcast, Sarah Gillis helps female creative business owners, especially photographers, stand out through words. After teaching writing for nearly a decade, Sarah left education to help business owners show up authentically online by crafting website copy that is word magic for their ideal clients. In her work with clients, Sarah shares practical advice to infuse creative business with storytelling and heart. Sarah, I'm so stoked to have you, my friend.
Thanks so much for letting me be here. It's so fun.
For letting you be here.
Yeah, letting me knock on the door and walk in.
And sit down and have a conversation. I'm so excited. All right. But of course, got to ask you the question.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So there's no wrong answers, as usual. But here's the question. Which do you believe is the most important for sales? SEO, social proof, or storytelling?
Storytelling is my answer.
Say more.
Say more. I'm a storyteller at heart. I am a sucker for a good old human interest story. I'm educationally trained as a storyteller, as both an English major, but also I was a journalism major. And so the human interest piece is always something that I respond to just personally. And I feel like when it comes to sales, in order for it to not have the ick factor, it needs to be based in story and it needs to be based in human interest. So that's my answer.
I'm very here for that. I had a feeling it was going to be storytelling, but I was like, I'm excited to see what she says. So yeah, not shocked.
I mean, I feel like all of them play a definite role, but for me, it always comes back to the story.
Yeah. And I know I talked in your group and I always forget the subject, but I talked about case studies with your group, right?
Yeah.
So that for me, case studies encapsulate all three. So I feel like there's no wrong answer. All of them are right if you bundle them together, but also if you say none of them, we can't be friends anymore.
None of them. It's all about being a used car salesman. That's what it is.
Do that. Less of that, please. All right. So with this conversation, I've got some ideas of where we could go, but I'm totally excited to see wherever this
I'm sure we're going to meander. It's going to be great.
It's going to be meandering. One thing I do want to know, though, is we kind of hit on this before I hit record, but what inspired you to get into the world of copywriting?
Yeah, that's a loaded question for me.
Sweet.
It's kind of fun. I mean, ever since I wrote my first story in 4th grade, and it was Magic School Bus-esque, traveling through the body, like spaghetti.
Yes.
I was always fascinated by what it meant to be a writer. And so growing up, I always thought that I would be an author. I'd find myself published on the bookshelves. And then I didn't really take my dream beyond that. It was just I'm going to be a writer. And then when it came time to graduate high school and do the college thing, it's well, of course I'll be an English major. And God bless my parents. They were never what are you going to do with that? Are you going to pick a different thing or combine it with something that's more marketable? I didn't get any shade from my parents, which is wonderful. Yeah. But at the same time, when I was in school, I discovered journalism and I'm like, ooh, that sounds fun. New York Times, that could be really cool. And so I figured that maybe the book would come after like the super awesome journalism career. And what really was hilarious to me is that I was literally about to graduate and I'm like, whoa, teaching would be cool. I never took an education class in my entire college career. Didn't even take like the exploratory class that like, all of my professors told me I should. And I'm like, nah, I'm a writer. I'm fine. But then I had this experience in the Twin Cities where I really figured out that teaching could be cool and that it didn't have to be like the boring curriculum standards. I'm just teaching you grammar. This is a snooze fest. And so after that, I'm like, well, shoot, I'm literally weeks away from graduation. I'm still going to do the thing. I'm still going to walk across the stage, but maybe I should give this teaching thing a try. And so I took a year and I worked in social media and realized that that wasn't lighting me up. And so I got into graduate school and had a teaching assistantship. And I'm like, we're going to see this teaching thing out. And I taught for a while and, got my master's degree in literature, taught for a while at the college level, really loved it. And then bam, burnout hit. I was teaching online for probably the bulk of my collegiate teaching experience. And there's no off button when it comes to teaching online. Like to do it well, I really feel like it's hard to turn it off. And so if my students would, email me on a Saturday morning, I would be that teacher responding because I cared. And when burnout hit, I couldn't get out. Like it was rough. And so for me, it was about what do I do after I leave the classroom? I have to leave the classroom. I can't keep burning this candle. I can't keep, serving the heck out of my students, but not serving me and not serving my family, not being a person. And not to mention like the writer self in me was not getting nurtured at all. So it was about what do I do after I leave the classroom? And that's where copywriting came in. So for me, it was about trying to figure out how can I make a living as a writer, but not in a way that like makes me married to my work in the sense that like I would have to sell my soul to the newspaper or the magazine or, uproot my family, which was growing at that point. And so for me, it was about how can I build a career that allows me to write and fill that part of me, but still allows a little bit of that teacher love to come through, that service, that servant heart, but at the same time, no burnout in sight. Let's try and figure that out. And for me, copy was the answer.
I love that. So did you go seek that out or was there something that showed up for you that you were like, oh, copywriting, duh?
Yeah. I mean, I sought it out real hard. Like it was something that I was desperate to figure out what is next. And I've always been like a blogger or a writer at heart. I started blogging in 2008 and never really quit. And it was always in different iterations, right? Like, I'm a young married person type of blog. And it was, wedding blogging before that. And after that, it was about, blogging about our family and our kids and raising humans in a world like this. And so it was kind of a natural iteration to think about websites from that blogging space and then to think about the words on websites. And so it was kind of something that developed organically, but at the same time, like I knew I didn't know what it meant to be a copywriter and I needed some know-how. And so that was something I had to actively seek out and build skills as I was working the job that caused me burnout.
That is so cool because I actually kind of feel like I came at it from the complete opposite lens. Like from the age of 5 to 18, I thought I was going to be a teacher.
That is hilarious. That was never on my radar for me.
Oh my gosh. It was like front and center, like to the point where I'm still friends with some of my teachers and some of them have actually told me that they listen to the podcast, which is absolutely mind blowing and really, really cool. But like I befriended my teachers. I stayed in touch with them and they were incredible mentors and role models for me growing up. The bulk of them were women. And so for me, it was very easy to see myself in them and to connect with them. And like, if I'm being honest, my brain was always kind of like analyzing what they were doing. And I'm like, okay, I will do that when I'm a teacher. No, I will not do that when I'm a teacher. And I was like very much like grading them in my own way in my head, experiencing their teaching styles, which is like so funny. But most of my teachers I absolutely adored. There were only a few where I was like, we need to check some stuff here. are we sure that's a smart idea? But no, like I totally thought I was going to be a teacher. And then that didn't pan out. And I realized I wanted more freedom, more creative freedom.
Yeah.
So then I bounced around from like, I'm going to be a lawyer. Nope. I'm going to take that job home. I'm going to be a therapist. Nope. I'll take that job home.
Mhm.
I'm going to be pediatric PT. That was the one that I really got stuck on, being a
Ooh.
pediatric physical therapist. I love kids. I
Yeah.
love animals. I love teaching, like all of those things. I'm like, well, that would be a fun thing to do. And so on my way to becoming a PT, I discovered massage therapy by way of like a conversation with a friend of a friend. And I was like, I'm going to go do that. Looked at one school, signed up, became a massage therapist, never wanted to work for myself. But I had this client who was like, you should really go work for yourself. Like, what's your next step? And he was a retired business guy and was just kind of like
Mhm.
always poking and poking. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go look around. And anyway, ended up working for myself with massage therapy. Had my business, was able to have a lot of my clients come with me when I left working at a chiropractic office and went off on my own.
Yeah.
Which was like absolutely magical and that never ever happens. So I did that and I didn't have a website. It was word of mouth for the longest. And then finally I had a website, had never heard of SEO, had never heard of keywords. I knew exactly what I wanted to write and how I wanted the website to look. So I just did that. I just talked to the person as if they were brand new to massage therapy and like either had bad massage experiences, didn't know what it could be like, had never had a massage, whatever that was. I was like, I want them to know how to get to me, what it's going to be like once they're here, the benefits they can expect, what I'm like. So all of that stuff. So I knew what I wanted to say on the website. And lo and behold, it worked. And people found me and they found me on Google. And then, of course, the website was there to validate. Once people were like, oh, you should go see Brittany. They were like, well, who is she? I'm going to go type on
Yeah.
the computer and go to her website. So that was really cool. But then lockdown happened and I had never heard of like a funnel. I had never heard of really a webinar or any of that, which is funny because I did have a blog in 2011 that I didn't really keep up with that had nothing to do with what I do now. And so like I was in the blogging game. I liked writing. I didn't know what shape that would take. And then I find this webinar, I find this summit, discover I'm a copywriter, discover I have this skill that people actually will pay for. And I was like, let me learn more. This sounds cool.
Yeah.
So, and in the end, I end up here. So it's really cool to hear how different people end up in this profession. People end up here and the paths are very different.
Amen. Yeah. It's something I never saw coming. Like my parents are steady Eddie employees. Like they have been like super devoted to like the same company for decades. And I'm here, I'm like, I'm walking away from a pension. I'm walking away from my guaranteed, safe career to start my own business. They're like, what? What are you doing? I mean, again, God bless them because they were like, okay, you do that. But it's so foreign to me that I own my own business. But at the same time, I can't imagine doing it differently now.
No.
Now that I know what creative freedom is like, now that I know what it's like to be responsible for myself, but to be able to dream big and then put plans in place to make it happen. Like I can't imagine living a different way.
No, I can't either. A few years ago, I tried being an employee again and I'm like, I hate this life. And I was the person that I saw a lot of instability with jobs in my life.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of moving jobs and physically moving. And so I was like, I need something stable. And so for me to now have 2 businesses under my belt, it's just like, I did what? Who am I? What happened? Like, how did we get here? Kind of this like thinking about the journey and stuff like that. Thinking about how we practice and what we do and the work that we provide. What is something that you wish more copywriters knew, whether it's about the skill set or the journey or like actually doing things? Like, what's something that comes to mind that you wish more copywriters knew?
I think for me, I had to really give myself permission to evolve as a person, but also as a business owner. And like when I started out, I mean, it was 2020. My business is a pandemic baby.
Yeah.
And when I started out, it was all about serving real estate professionals. And I love realtors. They serve a great purpose. But the idea of serving them today just feels a little bit confining. It feels a little bit transactional, which is, of course, like that makes sense. It's the nature of their work. And now in this place where I serve photographers and creatives, like I get to like dream every day. I get to tell stories every day for people who like are responsible for making memories or preserving memories. I get to tell stories for people who make art. And
Mhm.
like that is a different thing every day. And I'm sure that there's differences and nuances in, real estate copywriting, but it just doesn't light me up as much as it did initially. And allowing myself permission for my client base to evolve, for my own passions to evolve, for my business to evolve. Like, I think that's something I really want copywriters to know is that what you're doing today, you may love it and it may totally change and you may still love it. You may love it more. And it's okay to allow it to change and grow and to allow your clients to ebb and flow in that way too.
Yeah. And even to go somewhere, go with something, go away from it and come back. Like it is
Yeah.
okay. I can't agree with you more because that's a question I get a lot is like, well, what should I start with in copywriting? I'm always like, I took on everything. I took on all the
Mhm.
projects because I wasn't sure what I wanted to focus on. I have now
Yeah.
realized that, web copywriting projects where it's like, I want a 5-page website, that's not for me. And it took me
Mhm.
doing a few of those projects to be like, oh, no, I don't love this. Here are the reasons
Yeah.
why, but it's just not my jam. So I really love having the SEO stuff, having the case study copywriting. I love it. It's my jam. And I'm doing the done for you stuff for clients where they're giving me information and I'm over here spitting out, a case study or whatever.
Yes.
And then I'm also teaching people how to do that for themselves because whether it's a budget thing or a desire to learn, or you want to also have this as a deliverable, like it's really fun to watch that grow and have these different offers. And just like you said, to let yourself have that, let it expand, let it contract, let some things go, focus on one group of clients, move over to another one. I did that too because I started out with healthcare providers. They were in my
Which
bubble.
makes sense for you, right?
I mean, they were right there and they were like,
Yeah.
oh, you're writing stuff. Can you write this? Can you write this? Can you write that? And I was like, sure, of course I can.
Right.
And I loved it. And I still feel good about the work that I did. And as soon as I woke up one morning and was like, case studies, that's it. I had never heard anyone talk about case studies. I legit woke up one morning, had a dream. It was actually at the time I woke up and it was like client success stories. But keyword research showed me
Yeah.
that no one is looking for that shit. They're looking for case studies. So that is the importance of doing keyword research. I would say for most copy projects, maybe not all, because I could see an argument against needing keywords in email copywriting, for example. But still, it helps me find an email if I do a search inside my Gmail inbox or whatever. But
Yep.
if you're not including some kind of keyword strategy, even if it's like the simplest thing,
Yeah.
if you're not doing that, you're kind of half-assing the job in my mind because
Yeah.
you're already putting out these words. Why not have them actually do some work for you? I talk all the time about how keywords are extra
Right.
credit for business owners. SEO is extra credit. So it's like,
Yes.
why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Is there anything else that you could think that you would want to share with a copywriter, be it on a deliverable or a journey or anything?
Yeah. I think this is very tactical, but I would have started out with an LLC right from the get-go instead of being a sole proprietor for a hot minute because the switchover was annoying.
Mm.
And it makes sense to find somebody in your sphere, in your world, who can advise you on things like that. It just made more sense for me to be an LLC. And so the fact that I had somebody tell me you should be a sole proprietor first made me have to undo that later. And that was just a mess. So I think trying to find your trusted people in your network, whether it's an accountant or a lawyer or whatever, and really getting their help from the foundation on is really important. I found an accountant in my town by literally searching accountant. And it wasn't like a small business accountant. It wasn't, somebody who was really entrenched in the day-to-day of what my life would look like as a business owner. It was somebody who was, working as part of a big CPA firm. And again, that could be a really good fit for someone, but it wasn't the right fit for me. And so I think what I would do over again is getting the right people on my team, quote unquote, from the get-go, just because the forward, backward, undoing, redoing piece was really frustrating in my first year of business, on top of like trying to figure out who I wanted to serve and what kind of business owner I wanted to be and all the things like that.
I feel like the first year of business just looks like an absolute cluster.
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire.
It's an absolute dumpster fire. No matter what we do to like try to avoid that and come out the gate, like here's everything and it's so pretty. It's just not.
No.
But I will add another tactical thing on top of what you said. Totally very much agree with you about getting your providers and having your like support team.
Yeah.
But I will also say having a really solid contract can be a
Oh, girl.
lifesaver. And I only just last year upped my contract game. I'm going to link the ones below that I use because I love them. And even after being in business, 2021 is really when I solidified my copywriting business. So even after 3 years, I was like, I never thought about this. I never thought about that option. So even having something like that, which gives you such confidence as a newer business owner to be able to go, oh no, but in the contract it says this. That feels weird. Like if you're listening or watching this and you're like, but I can't do that. It feels weird. It never stops feeling weird. You just get a little more confident and a little less like second guessing of yourself. But having that contract to refer back to is like life changing.
I agree. I mean, like we feel icky when we're like, per my last email, but it has that vibe, like per the contract, here's what we agreed to. And sometimes it really saves your butt. Like it's important to have that for your client's protection, but also just to have that for yourself. So I love that example. That's gold.
Yeah. And I don't know if I've been brought on a few different copywriting projects, which I'm so grateful for because I was able to see two really big names actually have to refer back to the contract and I was able to watch them navigate that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? I'm like over here with popcorn ready.
Yeah.
I'm just over here like, what's the next move?
That's so interesting. I've seen it from a design perspective, not necessarily from a copy perspective. And it's been really interesting to see, okay, well, this is the deliverable and this was your responsibility and you have to fulfill that end.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for sure.
It was so interesting. One was a big quiz project, and which was actually my first type of deliverable that I ever did, like the big one. Why would I do that? That was like jumping in the deep end of like copywriting because there's a lot. Anyone who's like, oh, writing a quiz is easy. There's lots of deliverables. There's lots of moving parts. It's very strategic.
Yes.
It's fun and it's totally worth it in the long run, but like it is not a simple project.
No.
So one was a quiz and then one was a web copy project. And they were just like these big, robust deliverables. And for different reasons, the business owners had to be like, well, that's what we said over here. Like, let me draw your attention back over here. And just watching them navigate that was really, really helpful to be able to watch someone do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody with a little bit more experience and a little bit more street cred, like, oh, bless. That's the best. That's the best way to learn.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. So let's see. You mentioned design. So I would love to know, like, visually, is there anything we can be doing better on our own sites or, even if that's something that's a deliverable for some copywriters, like anything we could be improving on?
I'm speaking a little bit out of school here, but I love design, like making sure that my website looks good on mobile. And I swear I change one thing and I'm like, wait, I got to go fix it on mobile. I'm a Show It girl, so I love Show It as kind of the back end, but if I don't keep up with it, it will like sneak up on me. And somebody DM'd me once and said, I can't read this on your website. And I'm like, excuse me? Like what? They're like, yeah, I'm on my mobile. I'm like, oh no. And so it's like, it's one of those things that even though I as a copywriter know the importance of it, it can't be said enough. Thinking about mobile is so important and thinking about white space on mobile and about the opportunity to increase your font size even just a little bit on mobile, like just user accessibility wise, that's huge for me.
Okay, you get it. You know SEO is important, but no, you're not interested in learning another skill. Who has the time? But who are you supposed to trust with the task of getting SEO to work for you? Someone who won't ghost you mid-project or treat you like a dum-dum lollipop. Someone who actually wants to empower you and your team with all things SEO. Hi, yes, it's me, Brittany, and you are the person I created the SEO packet for. You're curious, you want to understand this thing better, but like only a little bit. You don't actually want to do the doing. This way, you get the key SEO stuff super fast, and you get support throughout and beyond the project. No more letting Google gift you the wrong SEO strategy. Time to put the right words in the right places and get found online by the right people. Find all the info you need below. Yeah, I definitely got a DM like that too. And I was like, drop everything, forget the client deliverables. Like, I have to fix this.
Yeah.
Like, if you go look at my website, I'm on Squarespace. I'm sure things are not optimized for mobile the best that they could be. But that's something that once I hand off that project to someone in the very near future, I'm going to just be like, make everything pretty and accessible and like all the things. And it'll be nice. But like, I'm doing okay. And I do a lot of SEO website audits.
Mm,
And so many people like the speed isn't fast enough. And, you know,
yeah.
so you're not alone in that
Mhm.
by any means, but also making sure that you fix any broken links or 404 error pages and
Yes.
uploading images that are lighter. That's how I describe it, at least,
Yeah.
like compressing them. And there's something called Tiny PNG, which I'll make sure I link below.
God bless.
There's things, just compressing them. And again, I am not perfect. My stuff is not perfect. You will go to my website and you will find errors, and that's okay.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, don't worry about that. I made a note to myself though, and I recorded an interview with Steph O'Keefe. She's someone that you should definitely like go look at her stuff. She does web design and SEO and copywriting. So kind of the idea that you have.
Interesting. Yeah.
She's not a solo.
She has a team.
It's an agency. There's a
Yeah.
team. There are peoples.
I think that's why my business coach was like, wait a minute. You are going to do all of this? Right. Mhm.
That's definitely something I would dream of.
I just think of the pie in the sky idea, not the actual how.
Yeah.
Who wants to be bored by the how?
Yeah. That's the part where I get stuck. I'm just like the pot at the end of the rainbow, and I'll figure out how to get there. But I always come up with like the most complicated, like cobbled together roadmap of how to get there.
I know. I feel the same way. Like my husband's very realistic and very grounded, and he's a steady Eddie guy. Like he's been at the same job for almost 10 years, and it's like, this is great. And I'm over here like, what if I did this? And he's like, hang on tight. God bless him. Cause I mean, we balance each other out nicely, but it's important to, I think, have both. You have to have those pie in the sky dreams, but you also have, you know, somebody who brings you down to reality, whether that's a business coach, a business partner, a friend in your group, your spouse, whatever it is, having somebody bring you down and say, okay, what is the actual plan? Let's not just, launch the thing and figure it out later. Been there.
Yeah, I've had to stop doing that. But I've done a really good job, thanks to Sally, of like not doing that so much anymore.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. I think it's an important piece as a business owner to dream big, but it's also important to like, set plans to those dreams for sure.
Yeah. And for me, like having the dreams and then writing them down. And so I don't know if you know much about human design, but I'm a manifesting generator.
Okay.
So I'm like the idea, like ping, ping, like all day long.
Yeah. I'm just a generator. I feel like I missed out on like the manifesting business. I'm like, that sounds fun. I want that. But I'm just a generator. So I'm with you there.
You're not just generator. So my boyfriend is, no, you guys master stuff. Like you master. But I think the manifesting generator part is like, we do have all the ideas and we're able to like not master things, but we're able to have all these things that, for example, this podcast, SEO, storytelling, social proof. I have multiple things and I'm like, here's how I can put them together and package them together. And here's what you can do and move through them a little bit faster and a little bit quicker. So like everybody's got their strengths. I think it's really amazing that generators just like master something.
I mean, that's kind of fun, at least. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to have you in my back pocket when I'm feeling like, why can't I manifest? That'd be so cool.
And I mean, there's a lot of ideas over here. Like, I don't know if you want that in your world.
I don't know. It's just like when I got my results, I'm like, I'm just a generator. What a letdown. I want the other adjective. Give me that.
I always want to be the rarest one. I think I got spoiled by being an INFJ with the Myers-Briggs thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember what I am. I mean, I'm an Enneagram 1, which is like.
Me too.
Oh, girl.
It's a lot.
Poor us.
Don't look so sad.
Poor us.
I'm going to need you to put some pep in that step.
Anger as the default emotion is like when I had an Enneagram coach. When she told me that, I'm like, oh. That's why I'm a 1.
Yeah.
I'm not angry, guys. It's
just sometimes. It's frustration. It's really frustration. And
frustration moves you to act.
Mm-hmm. If there's anything that's like in your way of, like you said, getting to that idea, if any of those steps hang you up, you're like,
yep.
I just want to rip everyone to shreds.
For better or for worse. Here we are.
You're like, this is what you signed up for.
God bless us, Enneagram 1s.
Amen. Just like round of applause for us.
Love it. Moment of silence for us. One of the two.
Yeah, either one. Moment of silence and then the clapping. We'll round it off at that.
Yeah.
I do want to hit on blogging before we go away because you started off with that. I recently discovered that I started my blog in 2011. I kind of like forgot about that one. And then I recorded an episode recently where I was like, I had a blog in 2011. I was already doing this. It's just like stuff you don't think about that actually folds into the skill that you have. So you're like an OG blogger, and this is a loaded one, but like, what have you seen change with blogging and what do you think matters today?
Yeah. I mean, I always tell people that blogging is like dipping your toes into SEO and trying to get your website to work harder for you. And so it's something that I feel like everybody can do. You don't have to be awesome at it. You just have to think about it intentionally. Like 2008, like there wasn't a lot out there about keywords. Like I just blogged about what I wanted to. You know, if I wanted to talk about the Backstreet Boys, I was going to do it. But now as a business owner, and even if you're not in business, I think it's still an important piece to think, why do I want to write about this? What is there that's pushing me to write about this? And is there some intention that I can add to the mix here?
Mhm.
Is there some pre-thinking, pre-planning? Is there some benefit that I can provide? And how can I make it universally applicable? Maybe you're not the Walmart of the world, like where you serve everybody, but at the same time, like there should be a relatability factor in any sort of blogging. And I feel like we're starting to get that now. Like blogging is just like glorified human interest, right? And so,
Yes.
I mean, bringing it back around to where we started, I feel like if you blog from a human interest perspective, if you blog about something that people find interesting and you put some storytelling in it, and yeah, some SEO too, it's a great way to make your website work harder for you, make friends with Google, but also to just flex that thought leadership muscle
Mhm.
and start to position yourself as someone with expertise. And that's important for any business owner. So that's what I like to do with blogs. And honestly, I think that for a long time, I was overcomplicating it. Like I was trying to make it like
Shocker.
shocker.
Type 1 would do that.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to like make it be like the best blog post ever. And it doesn't need to be. It's just little stacks on a big tower here to get the momentum that you need.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so, so glad that you brought up intentionality because that is something that I talk about a lot with SEO. You don't have to even really do keyword research in order to write a blog that's going to actually go out there and market for you. If you are
Right.
just really clear on, I said at the beginning of the podcast how I had my website and it was about massage therapy. I did not know a freaking thing about SEO, but I was
Right.
really clear on the information that I wanted to get out to people. And then I was like throwing headlines in to make it cute, which that's not the function of them. They really like help organize the information. I did not know that. But, we all make mistakes and then we learn from things. We learn best practices. But if you keep intentionality at the center, at the forefront, and you're just really thoughtful and you keep that person who's going to end up on this blog post in mind, you're going to write some amazing stuff. I need to do an episode on this, but there's something that Google talks about called EEAT.
Oh, I don't know about this. EEAT, you said?
EEAT. Yeah. So Google wants you to hit on these 4 elements in really everything that you write. So case studies are built for this. Blogs are totally built for this. But what it stands for is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Ooh, that makes sense.
Right? And so storytelling allows us to bring that in seamlessly. Case studies allow us to bring that in seamlessly. Blogs, like I said, it's primed for it.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, you're going to be favored by the Google gods, and then Google's going to play matchmaker between you and your ideal client, and your blog is therefore going to start working for you. So I'm really thankful that you brought that up.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't know the EEAT, but I'm going to ideate on that for a minute. That's really cool.
Just let that sparkle upstairs.
Yeah, sparkle upstairs. Amen, girl.
I don't know. I come up with weird stuff.
I dig it.
Oh my gosh. This has been amazing.
This has been so fun.
I am sure I could talk with you forever and a day. I want to make sure though that we leave time for people can find you and how they can get in your world. So tell us all the things, Sarah.
Yeah, of course. So thanks so much for having me. It's been so fun.
Yeah.
Online, I'm What Sarah Said. So whatsarahsaid.com is my website. On Instagram, I'm Hello Sarah Gillis, and no H on Sarah because that's the way it should be spelled, everybody. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Subtle dig. We're just going to throw that in there.
Yep, just going to throw that in. Otherwise, I'm really excited about this new product that I have. We were talking about quizzes and how hard they are to write. I wrote one and
check you out.
It was hard. It was hard, guys.
I told you.
But it's a brand voice quiz. And so it helps you to determine your brand voice type. And from there, I have a product that kind of helps you to take the guesswork out of what that actually means and what that actually could look like for you. And so it's about how to utilize ChatGPT, good old AI, to try and hack your brand voice. And not in a way that it's like copy paste, I'm done, but in a way that's
Mm.
like, ooh, let me brainstorm some things. Let me think about my ideal client in a creative way and then churn out some ideas in my brand voice. So that's coming. It's really exciting. I'm pumped for it, but like it's a two-parter. So quiz first,
Yeah.
then the product, and they work together really nicely. So all of that is at whatsarahsaid.com. I'm sure that it will be something that continues to evolve, but I totally love helping business owners to try and take a little bit of like the writer's block out of it when it comes to creating copy or content. Really, it works for both. So that's my heart on it. But again, thanks so much for having me.
No, of course. I've been gushing over this interview. I'm like, I'm so excited for this because I knew it was going to be a great conversation. You and I have already had a few touch points. And so I was like, this is just going to be amazing. But I will make sure everything that you said is linked below. I'm really
Sweet.
excited to see your quiz and the product and just watch that blow up for you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's always good to stretch ourselves. And this was a definite stretch for me. So it's been fun to see it come to life.
Yeah, I'm sure. They're giant beasts, but they're really, like I said, they're super effective. They're really worthwhile, but they're massive.
Yeah, for sure. It's been fun.
I'm so excited for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I'm sure we'll have to have you back. We'll come up with a reason to have you back.
Yeah, girl. Let's do it. I'm game.
Thank you for tuning in, listening, watching, whatever you're doing, and we will see you next time. Bye. That was really something, wasn't it? Let that really sink in and guide you toward being the answer to even more Googled questions. Thanks so much for joining me this episode. You are the reason this show exists and that it keeps growing. You know, thanks to all those follows and reviews. If you know someone who could benefit from what was shared, send it to them. We don't do shy around here. If you thought of clarifying or follow-up questions while listening, you know what to do. Say hi on Instagram. Check the show notes for all the things that were mentioned, and I'll talk to you soon, friend. Hey, it's B, and I have a major announcement. Blogging is not dead, but it might as well be if you don't have a strategy, because when there's no SEO strategy, your blogs don't help you get found online, don't pull in warm leads, and just kind of waste your time. Who wants that? Especially when you're already busy with a family to take care of and a business to run. That's exactly why I created this 10-day email course to show you how to write a blog with SEO. You get one email each day with a task that'll take you 10 to 30 minutes. There's even a live call included where you get to ask me all your questions. This is perfect for you if you've taken a blogging break and are ready to get back in it, or you've never blogged a day in your life, but everyone is telling you to. And you can totally send your team member through the course. The link is in the show notes. Can't wait to see you inside.